Hi there. Welcome. We look forward to you joining us as we, the Bearded Bible Brothers, have a conversation. I am your bearded host, Josiah Marshall.
And I'm your other bearded host, Matt Crosswhite.
We like beards.
We love beards.
Yes, we
And
do.
if you are not a bearded person, either because you are a female or because you choose to shave your chin every morning, we do not hold that against you. You are still welcome here, but we have beards and we are fond of them.
Yes, we are. We are not scholars, but nor are we trained individuals in the topics that we'll be discussing, but we are just two brothers who enjoy having these conversations and look forward to you joining us in them. And if you have any negative comments, whatever they may be, we look forward to you sending them in and joining in our conversation in the episodes to come.
So let's jump in together and start today's study. So as we said in the intro, we are two bearded friends who are not necessarily scholars in any particular area, but we wanted to start a show or podcast where we can open the Bible, read it for what it says, and ask questions, challenge assumptions, not just jump into what we've always been taught to believe about the Bible, but read it for ourselves, invite you, listening audience, into the conversation and ask some hard questions and wrestle through the text. And if you have more experience on any particular subject that we end up discussing, we would love to hear from you. So you can send us an email at beardedbiblebrothers@gmail.com. We want this to be more than just a two-way conversation that others are listening in on. We want you to be a part of it. So send us your thoughts, comments, questions, critiques, and we'll read some of them on future broadcasts, and we will knock around the ideas and stuff. But we wanted to start off with an introduction. Who are we, and what are we trying to do here? So, as said before, I'm Matt. I am a 32-year-old father of one. I have a 2.5-year-old. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Christy, for 7.5 years. We live in Prescott, Arizona. I have a master's degree in professional counseling. Have been walking with Jesus as one of his disciples since, spring of 2009. So somebody do the math on that one. With more and more intensity and more faithfulness in the last 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what I bring to the table. I've known Josiah for, what's it been, 5 years? 4 years?
Let's see. We met in April of 2019.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so here we are in 2022, in the fall.
3.5. Yeah, almost 4 years.
Almost.
What a wonderful 4 years it's been. Lots of laughs, lots of fun.
Yep. Yeah. And
Matt,
I've served in ministry in various roles. I've been spiritual care pastor. I've been a marriage pastor. I'm a part-time teaching pastor at a small congregation here in Prescott, and love doing it. I love helping people through stuff. I love my primary passion is helping the Bible be applicable in people's lives. I'm very, very practical with it because it should do more than just fill our heads with information. It should change our lives as we pursue walking with Rabbi Jesus and looking more like him every day. So that's me. Josiah, why don't you tell the listening audience who you are and what's going on with you?
Well, my name is Josiah. I'm coming up on 13 years of being married to my beautiful bride. We have 2 children and 2 dogs. So on some days we either have 2 children or 4 children. But we live in beautiful northern Utah. And my wife and I were actually born and raised here in Utah. So we are Utahns through and through. But as Matt said, we have had some background in ministry. I've worked in ministry on and off for a little over 20 years. I consider myself retired at this point. But I've had the opportunity of working in many different positions within Christian ministry and in the church, and it gave me a unique opportunity to see life and see things on various different levels and various different perspectives. I was a janitor at a 1 million square foot church. I was a youth leader. I was a member of the youth group. I have also worked in Christian music for a lot of years, but mostly in worship teams. And I started drumming at the age of 11, and in a church worship team setting, and I did that all the way up until about 3 years ago, just before the pandemic started. And I also had the opportunity of being a children's pastor, a teaching pastor, and a spiritual care pastor, much like Matt described himself as well. And I've had a background in a lot of different college settings, mostly online. But hey, education is an education, right? My background in education is that I have an associate's degree in general linguistics with an emphasis in Chinese, French, and I have a bachelor's degree in applied linguistics and ESL. I also do have some graduate training. I have what would be called an unofficial graduate certificate from Regent University based out of Virginia, but I've also had the opportunity of getting some training through at least 6 other institutions. And I consider myself a perpetual learner. But as a lot like Matt, my passion and my goal has always been to sit and listen to people and be an encouragement, be a helper in some ways, but also to help find both a way for me and them to have a functional understanding of Scripture and how it applies to us today. And like Matt, I look forward to jumping into Scripture with you. There's a quote out there that in our modern society, it's not so much of rewriting Scripture as rereading Scripture. And I think this is going to give us that opportunity to reread Scripture in its original context, begin to understand it more in its geographical context, its linguistic context, and its people context. And so I look forward to having those conversations with any and all of you. And as Matt said, yeah, we're not the experts here, but we do look forward to hearing from experts and perhaps learning more about where we may be off or where we may be on point, whichever the case may be. But I'm excited for this and the opportunity to also to spend this time with Matt. He's become a very close and personal friend, and I think we're going to have a good time, a fun time. Who knows, we might crack some jokes and throw in a movie line here or there. But for the most part, we just look forward to having this conversation and seeing where it leads.
Yes, and as for you, dear audience, who's listening to this, go ahead and send us an email even after listening to just this podcast. Mm-hmm. Tell us where you're listening from, who you are, and a little bit about your background so that we can get to know you as we launch into various different studies or topics or passages that we're gonna launch into. So we'd love to hear from you. beardedbiblebrothers@gmail.com. Yep. And we'll talk to you again soon.